Today's story is called The Light in the Night Sky, and it's brought to us by Dawn Teetzel. Slowly I raise myself from my comfortable reclining position on the sofa, and yawning, I reach for the remote. A quiet click, and the entire house is silent. It's getting late. It's not like me to stay up past the news, but my husband Ted is away, and I did sleep in late this morning. I get up and walk towards the one and only lamp that has been left on, flick the switch, and now the entire house is in darkness. I look around my favorite room of the house, my family room, or as I prefer to call it, my drawing room. I planned this room, with its high vaulted beamed ceiling, skylight, garden door, and long casement windows on each wall, all allowing the summer moonlight to stream in as it will. A slight breeze sips in a west window. It flutters the hem of my thin cotton nightgown, tickling my bare legs. I gaze out of the north windows towards my pastures and barns, which house my beloved Shetland sheep and my Jersey cow Dolly. All is quiet out there tonight. I can't see them, but I imagine the ewes and lambs resting under the tall maple tree of the east fence row, and Dolly and her calf sleeping on the fresh straw inside the small cow barn. Good night, girls, I think to myself. I don't say it aloud because even though I'm alone, I'm afraid of becoming and being labeled one of those eccentric middle-aged women. Something is in the sky. It's a very large light. I stare at it, totally confused. It can't be a light. It's far too big. It must just be another light reflecting off the window. I turn around and look towards the south to see which light could possibly be mirrored in this window. The dining room is dark. The parlor is even darker, and there are no lights on in the house. There are no lights shining in any window. This light is definitely in the sky. I walk closer to the window. It appears to be only a couple of miles away, about 300 to 500 feet in the air, and moving very slowly. Ted is a pilot with his own airplane and airstrip on our farm, so I'm very familiar with watching aircraft in the sky and determining their speed and altitude. I've grown accustomed to answering his interrogating questions when he returns home from being away, such as, did anyone fly over? What kind of airplane was it? And how high were they flying? I quickly exit the garden door off the family room and cross the wooden deck. Sure enough, it's still there. Someone other than myself needs to see this thing. Of all the nights for Ted to be away. I slip back into the house and quickly check the time. It's only 11:35 p.m. I grab the cordless telephone. Dad should still be up. Dialing his number, I step back out the door, cross the deck, and walk across the backyard. The lush grass is cold and wet on my bare feet. 9. 10. 11 rings. Crap, he must have fallen asleep in his chair. I hang up and try my closest and best friend's number. Yvonne is a night hawk. It's not likely I'll be waking her. Ring 1. 2. 3. Pick up. Hello, you've reached the woods. We would love to talk, so leave your number. Well, crap. They must be out for the evening. I'll dial Dad again and just let it ring until he wakes up. By this time, I've left the backyard, and I'm standing on the airstrip beside the big barn. From this great vantage point, I can see that the lights are still there, slowly moving to the west. It's amazing. Someone needs to see this, or at least someone needs to know I'm seeing this. I think about all those science fiction programs on television, how someone is standing perfectly still, watching a light in the night sky, and then zap! It's directly overhead, beaming a huge spotlight down on them, and they disappear. You know, I'm a believer, and it's totally possible for that to happen, and I certainly don't want to be one of those people who is here one moment and gone the next. And if I am one, I want someone to know where I've gone. 10. 11. 12 rings. And finally, pick up. Hello? Dad says. I blurt out, where have you been? He replies, in the shower. I tell him, quick, Dad, look out the window to the north. He asks me what he's looking for. There's something in the sky. It's a huge light shaped like a saucer. No, actually, it's shaped more like a cigar, heading west. He reminds me the barn is in the way of his view. I say excitedly, I'm standing up beside our barn on the airstrip. Have you got your cordless phone? I can tell by the staticky phone line he's on it. Quickly, go outside and get behind your barn so you can see it. It's moving further away as we speak. Over the receiver, I listen to the sounds of the screen door banging and his ragged breathing as he hurries through his backyard. I hope he took the time to put on his shoes. I imagine him walking over the sharp gravel of his laneway that leads back to his large old barn. He lets me know. Okay, I'm back behind the barn. Now where do I look for this light? He sounds winded, and for a fleeting moment, I feel a little remorse for dragging him outside so late in the evening. I keep forgetting that he's getting up there in years, almost 80 now. I put that aside. I don't want to think about that. He's always been my anchor and my rock. I reconsider feeling remorse. He'll appreciate me throwing a little excitement into his weekend. I guide him. Look to the northwest, just above the tree line. Do you see it? He says through the cordless phone static, I see it. It just looks like a big light to me. I remark disappointedly, yeah, it does now. But when I first saw it, it was directly behind our farm, perhaps a couple of miles away, just north of the river. It looked like, well, I don't know what it looked like. It certainly doesn't look like anything I've ever seen in the sky before. I don't know what it could be, but I know for a fact it's not a plane or a helicopter. Dad asks me if I have my binoculars. No? Why didn't I think of them? Crap, hold on a minute and I'll run back to the house and get them. Feet barely hitting the ground, I run back to the house to the cupboard where the binoculars are stored, pull them out of the case, peel off the lens covers, and run back outside. Within a moment or two, I am back on the airstrip beside the barn. Okay, I've got them. I can see so much better now. I don't know why I didn't think of them. I take a deep breath. Wow, Dad. It looks like a huge craft lit up from the inside with small lights circling around it. Do you possibly think? Do you suppose there's any chance we could actually be seeing a UFO? Dad is quiet for a moment and then he calmly replies, No, I don't think so. You know, I bet I know what it is. When I was watching the news tonight, I saw that London's annual hot air balloon festival. It was on this weekend. It's likely just one of those balloons heading back home. I asked, Do you really think so? I felt him nod through the phone. Well, that might explain it, although I would think it would be unusual for a balloon to travel at night. I continue to look through the binoculars at the disappearing craft. Dad asks through chattering teeth, What's it doing? I answer him, It's just slowly flying away. Dad, you sound cold. You should go in, he slowly tells me. I am cold. I haven't got a stitch on. Oh my goodness, I can't believe what I'm hearing. That dear old man. That man would do anything I asked of him within reason. I shake my head, trying to dislodge out of my mind the vision of my father's tall, lean, white, aging, naked body in the moonlight. I giggle. Get in the house. I'll talk to you tomorrow. He responds, Okay, I think I will. You get in the house too. I tell him, Good night, Dad. He wishes me a good night as well. I press the end button on my phone and slowly walk back to my dark house. I smile, thinking of how fortunate I am to have such a good sport for a father. I gaze at the magnificent rising moon and admire the beauty of this summer's night. Another light breeze blows over me, gently stirring my long hair and sending shivers down my arms and legs. I feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on edge. Nervously, I slowly turn and look behind me. The sky is dark and the light is gone. I say to myself, Stop it. It was just a balloon. I cross the deck, enter the garden door, and lock it securely behind me.